Travis Wayne Goodsill. One of the disturbing behaviors that I've learned about Utah since moving here in 1996 is that Lamanite syndrome. Lamanite syndrome comes from the Book of Mormon, in which Laman, the birthright blessing son, believed it was his right to rule, and that he needed to subjugate everyone in the family and the tribe to him. He couldn't have deserters, as Nephi took those who didn't want to be subjugated to Laman and left to go find their own place to live. And that wasn't good enough. Laman still pursued Nephi, and they would have battles between each other. And then generations down the line, it became battle between Lamanites and Nephites. Lamanites just could not let the Nephites go. That's what I'm experiencing here from Mormons. Mormons believe it's their right to rule. And it's a culture of corruption. Everybody in every position follows that practice. As not just the government, but down into my family. My own parents did that as I was growing up, and that's why I wanted to turn 18 and then freeze 18 so that I can get away from my parents, get my own place, and just stay far, far away from my parents. But even my parents, still, they tried over and over again to reach out and be in my life. And they didn't get it, that I wanted nothing to do with them. And my mom has even said once that she's the parent. It's her right to rule over me. The concept of if you love someone, set them free. Free, free, set them free. Sting, unless it was with the police. But yeah, that's exactly what I've seen here, is that police don't want to do their job, government doesn't want to do their job, people in positions of trust don't want to do their job. They're lazy, just like the Lamanites. They want to subjugate people to their control so that they don't have to do a single thing other than have the throne of whatever position they're in. It's horrifying, because they employ torture techniques, they employ bullying, they employ abuse, and even death threats. I've been threatened with my life numerous times. I mean, with coronavirus, you probably watched my videos in the afternoon where I was coughing. That was because the temperature in this area reached 75 degrees. Now, if you remember, those of you who've been with me for a year now, last summer, my property manager refused to clean out and replace my air unit. It got moldy because they refused to maintain it for the previous year. And I kept telling them it needs to be cleaned because I don't do well when it's not cleaned. I have allergies to certain things, and they just didn't care. And so it escalated as they ignored me. And finally, right at the beginning of summer last year, I was having breathing attacks. I couldn't breathe. The mold got too bad, and I had got record-breaking heat last summer. And so when the heat is high, the mold is more active on my body, and I couldn't breathe. I was having respiratory attacks, and they just didn't care. And so this year I bought myself some air units that I'll be running during the days. Fortunately, we had rain come through last night, so we're at 60 degrees now. But during the winter time, the mold's not gone. It's still here. It's in me now. It's flowing through my blood. And so in the winter, I got a severe winter rash, mostly on my right leg, and some on my belly, and then on the arms, but mostly it was on the leg where it was really bad. Now that winter time is over, it's going away. There's still some scarring, but they just don't care about my life. They just want me gone, so that I'm no longer a burden to them, no longer a problem to them, because they can't subjugate me. I keep resisting, and so that's how they're treating me here. And that's the same exact pattern that all Utah does. And so, yesterday it reached 75 degrees. The allergies to mold kicked in. And so, no, it's not coronavirus. But it sure appears like it. And I'm going to be scaring people. But fortunately, by leaving the house, leaving the mold, it stops. But you guys are going to think it's coronavirus as you're watching my videos and hearing me cough. And man, it's just the abuse that goes on here. I would love to leave. I would love to say, bleep you guys, I'm out of here. And then they would cheer. They would literally hold a party that I was leaving. But I can't. They won't let me win. They won't let me leave. And that's the trap that they've set. Is on the 31st, on Tuesday, I could have left. I could have left Utah. I could have said, see you guys. But they don't want that kind of result. Because that result was defeating the church with an entry of default and an order for final default judgment against the church, where my request for relief was everything because of the severe abuse that they too have been causing to me. And that would have been it. I would have collected their trillions of dollars. Trillions, guys. The tithing was just one tiny portion of what they're doing. And I have got I'll go over that maybe today. But I could have been out of here. I could have gone find somewhere else in the United States, barren land, built up a city, and used it for actual charity, where anybody who wants to come and live in my society, separated from the world, who don't have to worry about getting the right job, food insecurity, taking care of a family. Everyone gets taken care of. A real charity. And self-sustaining, doesn't require people to continually give other than what you do with your job, your life, your interests, your career. That is sufficient for payment for whatever you want, whatever you need. And so, yeah. But that's the life I live here in Utah, in constant fear and threat of my life. They took away my wives. You're a polygamist? No, the first one was the first wife, but she sort of sabotaged it at the end and used Utah as the dumping ground for me. It was the second wife mostly that I lost because of the hatred that everybody had toward me. Her sister had divorce papers all signed, ready to go for her to sign, and the bishop, he neglected us during our time of need. And the whole neighborhood abandoned me. And the property management was getting transitioned into the abusive one. Nobody cared. And that's the thing, though, is that the church has the family proclamation. They're supposed to help foster families. Not foster families, but nurture and develop and grow families. But yet they have the practice of tearing families apart if a family is unsuccessful at being prosperous. If the husband gets laid off from work, all of a sudden he's the bad guy, and the wife is justified in divorcing him, taking the family, taking the property, and leaving him to suffer. That's all part and parcel of the Lamanite attitude of Mormonism. And they just don't care. They don't properly blame them. Those in government, those of the church, those in business. Because if a business isn't paying their employees sufficiently for a life, then they're enslaving their employees. And that's the economy we have. We have a slave economy. It's not capitalism. If we had capitalism, we wouldn't have Walmart. Because if you remember Sears had the high prices for everything. And you had no choice but to select a particular brand that you were interested in when you shopped at Sears. Then Walmart comes along, and they get different companies similar to the Sears, but their Walmart drops prices of products that aren't selling and bumps up the prices of other stuff that is more popular, and they keep adjusting this price manipulation throughout the store throughout the months. And so what that does is allows people to say, hey, this product is cheap. So everybody flocks to Walmart, abandons Sears. Sears is now gone. I think, for the most part anyway. And thus Walmart is able to thrive because of this, and survive economic problems. Then comes Amazon, that also does the same type of thing through Prime membership. That's not capitalism, guys. Capitalism is where one business that deals with certain types of products, like Levi's versus Wrangler, you have both stores competing against each other, and people get to choose. If they like Wranglers, they buy Wranglers. If they're me, I buy Levi's, and because I know Levi's are better quality. And so for the competition, it's dependent on whether the company can continue to make a good quality product at the lowest price possible so that they can generate the greatest number of customers. And if people don't like the product, if it's a poor quality product that you're trying to scam people on, people are going to choose the other option. When you have Walmart, Amazon, you don't get that option to choose a better product because that product is higher priced. And if you're financially strapped, you have no choice but to choose cheaper products that continually break down and require replacement or replacement parts. And so that's why our economy is so crappy, is because people just are interested in money only at the expense of customers and their employees. And we're not in capitalism, because capitalism has the different product or different companies competing for customers, and so they have to do things like improve wages, improve quality of the products, and try to get the price as low as they can. And that is true capitalist competition, and we just don't have it. It doesn't exist anymore in America. And so what we have is an extortion slave economy. And now it's collapsing. And purposely collapsing it so that they can transition us out of entertainment and the businesses and products that they, the rich elite, disapprove of. They don't want us to have that luxurious life. They want us subjugated and controlled into what they want us to be, which is slaves, just like the Lamanites. They got it from the Book of Mormon, I guess. But no, the slave extortion economies have existed for a long time. You had King Sargon I of Assyria, old Assyria, who seems to be the first on record to implement such a economy, sending his military to collect tribute from subjugated villages. But I've got to go running, so I'll upload this after I get back.